This is them telling you they're going to make this bullet fit no matter what. The feds will do it. If ATF isn't going to be corrupt, we'll be corrupt.
So Joe Kent comes out and says he wasn't allowed to investigate, that he had solid leads to follow up on, and the FBI shut him down. And Joe Kent had a problem with that. Well, Turning Point USA had a problem with him speaking out about it. They didn't want him investigating anything. A guy that Andrew Colvett trusted enough to reach out to turn over text messages that he was concerned about himself. Then Andrew got reined in. Joe Kent's a decent guy in that. I mean, there's some white supremacy issues apparently, but in this case, he's the good guy. He wants to investigate, or he wanted to. He said they had solid leads, potential foreign involvement. Nope, shut him down. And from day one, Turning Point sets out to discredit him. A lot of suspicion there. But it just so happens that that same foreign involvement pays Turning Point USA. Funds from that foreign involvement started Turning Point USA. And Charlie went off script. They weren't going to have that. And they have to have Tyler go down, right? Otherwise, we know who the bad guys are here. Let those who have eyes see and ears hear. Why does someone like me, more left-leaning, care more than so many that are right-leaning? People that are die-hard Erica Kirk supporters, do you not want to know who killed her husband? Yes, Tyler Robinson killed him. Do you not want the facts locked down to put him away? Then the news comes out they can't match the bullet to the gun. Can't do it. And Andrew Colvett decides they have to do this.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, it was the first time I've ever seen you, Justin. Let's just take apart this headline from the Daily Mail.
Why are they trying so hard? Why? I know the answer. This is a rhetorical question.
I saw you criticizing it as sort of an egregious misrepresentation of the facts. They're saying the bullet does not match the rifle, court filing claims.
The bullet, which has now been conveniently reduced to a fragment, happened very quickly over a couple of days, has come back, and the ATF has concluded that they can't connect to the gun. It's inconclusive. What's your read of what actually it says?
See why it's false. And so it's false. And so it's false. And so they can't determine whether the bullet was fired from the rifle, but they also can't determine that it wasn't fired from the rifle. That's right. Effectively all I'm saying. They're saying that there's some reasonable doubt that it could theoretically have been something else. Now, I'm not making an affirmative declaration one way or another. I want people to understand that. This has nothing to do with what I think happened or what anybody else thinks happened. All I'm doing is looking at the facts.
A lot of people think, and I think this is a graphic you can see in TV shows or movies, where they'll take like a bunch of little pieces of metal out of thin air, and then they'll put them all onto like a little machine, and then like the computer will assemble all the bits, and they'll just see it. They'll bend the bits and reassemble the bullet.
Apparently, it's very common. Almost half of the cases you can't match it because the bullet is so badly damaged.
Do you not want to know who killed her husband? Well, I care more. Why do I care more about the truth?
The preliminary hearing that they want pushed back by 6 months because they're trying to drag this case out as long as possible.
Initially, they had files, which were 61,500 pages in total before that March 12th meeting. They had audio files that were 31 hours in total length. So they're going through all that. They were also given more than 5,000 video files containing more than 700 hours of video until March 12th when they conferred. And then they handed them this little drive. And guess how much was on that drive on March 12th? It amounts to approximately 12 terabytes of data and over 600,000 files.
Because they're trying to drag this case out as long as possible.
Had all of this time since September to deliver them all of this data for them to go through, and they waited until March 12th, and they handed them a drive, and they said, here are 600,000 files. See you in May. That is a strategy.
It is reported that the prosecution plans to call Tyler Robinson's parents.
No, he's not testifying for the prosecution. They are naming him as a witness, and he is going to be forced to answer questions under oath, likely, I would assume, about the gun.
At the preliminary hearing, it is reported that the prosecution plans to call Tyler Robinson's parents and Tyler Robinson's furry boyfriend.
The state intends to offer a significant amount of hearsay identified in the Utah Rule of Evidence at a preliminary hearing. Namely, they're just going to get up there and they are going to tell you that they've made these conclusions, but we can't tell you how they got to these conclusions. We want to see the chain of custody. How did this happen? How did this file get created? You can't just send us a PDF conclusion. That is what is in these documents. They are playing games. These 5 sets of prints that are on this, who are these people? Do we know these people? No, they're not giving them anything. They're not giving them anything but the conclusion.
So we've seen over and over, it just gets wildly alleged on social media that actually his parents didn't turn him in. Actually, his parents they're not cooperating with police. And that is how we're able to reach conclusions about this case without a bullet match.
Yeah, and you can say
it's pathetic.
The casings match, the DNAs match, the markings on the bullet casings match.
The text messages match.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other...
His location matches.
Yeah.
Right now, they're telling you that they found Tyler Robinson's DNA on the gun, okay? What they keep conveniently leaving out is that they found a total of 6 sets of prints on the gun. It is not shocking that Tyler Robinson's gun had Tyler Robinson's prints on it. Regarding the firearm evidence, the defense has been provided with an ATF summary. Again, just a summary report, which indicates that the ATF was unable to identify the bullet recovered at autopsy to the rifle allegedly tied to Mr. Robinson. Although the state has not indicated an intent to produce this report at the preliminary hearing, the defense may very well decide to offer the testimony of the ATF firearm analyst as exculpatory evidence. Okay, so they met, they conferred, and they're like, okay, we haven't even received, we got a summary that like this is not matching, but we want to see the whole report. We want to see how they got there because the report will show us how they conducted this. We'll actually be able to see that bullet fragment. How big is, I don't know. We know nothing. And then Erica's team comes in, the state comes in, and they're like, it doesn't matter. We're not even going to bring up the ATF thing. So you have our word. So we're good. They're like, well, first of all, why aren't you bringing that up? And it's not about whether you're good. It's about whether we're good, because that's pretty exculpatory for us. So what's up with that? Why are you not giving it? They're like, oh, because we're going to do some other testing down the line. Here's where it gets crucial. Pay attention. Look alive, okay? It goes on and it says, in order to make this determination, it is necessary for the defense and its firearm expert to review the ATF case file and the protocols relating to this examination, which have not yet been provided. The state has also indicated that the FBI is in the process of conducting a second comparative bullet analysis as well as a bullet lead analysis, that these analyses are not yet complete. The ATF is Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. That's the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. If they couldn't do it, what extra power does the FBI have to do it? If the firearm people can't do it, why is this going to the FBI? So I said, what is a comparative bullet lead analysis? What is that? I need to know things. I like to learn. And lo and behold, we find out that the CBLA, the compositional analysis, is a discontinued forensic technique that analyzed trace elements, copper, arsenic, in lead to link crime scene bullets to suspects. It was primarily used by the FBI from the 1980s until 2004, but it was then abandoned in 2005 due to flawed scientific, statistical, and interpretive validity. Wait, they just continued this like 20 years ago? They literally put the wrong people in prison using this technology until it became so obvious that nobody would even stand trial and back it anymore. So they just got rid of this analysis.
FBI agents swore by it in courtrooms across America for decades, a type of forensic science called bullet lead analysis.
This was used in thousands of cases and hundreds of trials, but the FBI stopped using it over flaws in the science.
If you still support them, why? Why? You want all the evidence you can get, Andrew Colvett, right? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? This is my mom's stare. The I already know the answer, kid, you're busted stare.